Hey everybody, I wanted to talk about Dexter Resurrection. I'm not going to do any theories about the show or what's going to happen next in the season because I feel like people who, well, me usually, or other people too, usually if you go into tangents too far into theory land, you end up in places that it's really not probably going to go in. So I'm just going to talk about random, ideas that the show has been saying. Probably that they'll never explore enough that I wish, but here's the video. I think Dexter should give up being a serial killer. I think he's so close to being caught by Batista, which hopefully that happens. I want to see that happen, but for the show, I want it to continue, so I don't know if it will right away in the season. But I think Dexter should give up being a serial killer. And here's why. He's a dad. Being a dad is one of the most amazing things on earth. It really is. And what do you like more? Your obsessions, or your family? What's more important to you? That should be what he's thinking about mentally, mostly throughout the series. And he does a little bit in the show, like that's where these ideas come from. Because his dad shot him, Dexter got shot in the chest by his own kid, and Harrison was growing up with his own dark past as well. The reason why he was being, with these urges like his dad used to be as a kid too, is because the Trinity Killer killed his mom when he was a little baby right in front of him. But if his dad didn't write a letter saying hopefully he doesn't have any dark tendencies like me, then he wouldn't have never had the idea that something was wrong with him. But still, I understand why Dexter did say that in the letter because, it does happen to usually every person who does see something horrific. But let's get back into what I was saying. I think the series as a whole, Dexter Resurrection, should end on a note where he stops being a serial killer. You know, because he should completely give it up. Because at this point, I love what the show is showing us that he's, in a pretty much a serial killer gathering where everybody's just hanging out, eating, and they're all hanging out. But really, he's just there just to be there. He doesn't really have a significant reason for being there. He's only there because he's just bored and he just can kill these people. And at this point, it feels like he's only doing this to pass the time because his son won't talk to him. And that does make Dexter awesome, that he has this other thing to fall back on. But once his son's now back into his life, how does an obsession or an urge to do what he does more important than the relationship with his own kid? I think that's really where they're gonna go. I hope that's where they go because, it would turn Dexter into kind of like a more conniving, cynical scumbag. Because if he chooses to kill over his own kid, he always thought that in the old seasons that before his kid was born, why do I shouldn't have a kid because my life that I do on the side is more important or could come in the way or, pass on to him somehow and all that shit didn't come true. So Dexter's thinking now, my son wants nothing to do with me. So I think the show, I said I wasn't going to do theories, but I think it's going to show that he's still doing what he does. And his son's going to kind of be like Deb and not like that he's a killer still. And he's going to find his blood slides in the bottom where he put those new slides and he's going to discover it all. And he's like, you're still killing. But if that doesn't happen, and he's just like wondering, hey, are you still doing what you're doing? Like, what if he says no? Like, no, I'm not. Because he doesn't want his dad to be a killer. You know, he doesn't want to be a killer either. So I think for the show, he'll probably. I mean, Dexter really doesn't want to be a killer either. But he has to. Harrison has a better choice than Dexter does. So I think that Dexter is going to end up somehow choosing the life to be with his kid, but still the past is going to come back to bite him in the ass anyway, even though he chooses to be with his kid. I think Batista is going to slowly get closer, regardless of what other detectives say, and still try to continue the hunt and possibly follow Dexter around without him even knowing he's there, like Dokes did. And this show is going to continue for at least 2 more seasons. So I don't think you need to rush Batista completely figuring it out. Well, he could figure it out, but I don't think you need to have him get arrested right now. You could have him, know certainly, but not completely certainly, that he is a killer and he's a Bay Harbor butcher. But, you know, everybody says that Dexter's a hero in this show. To me, he could be a hero in a way, but when you really sit back and think about it, I mean, he's cutting up people and watching the blood flow. He's not here to save lives. I mean, that's kind of like a back of the mind, you know, convenient thing to say, but it's really just this obsession with the need to want to hurt others, and he's just using it and focusing it on other shitty people. But if he didn't have that code that his father taught him, he would just be a regular psycho like everybody else. So he's not really a hero in the end because he's not really trying to save lives on purpose. He's trying to fulfill an urge. He even said it in the last episode that, if the feeling, the whatever it's called. So I think Harrison's gonna be like, you're sick, you're a sick fuck or whatever. You're still doing this. I shot you, and you're still trying to fucking kill others, like, and Harrison tries to run away from him, or he sticks around to watch who his dad is killing. Because let's face it, Harrison did kill somebody at the beginning. And I don't think Harrison's going to get arrested at all. They found a way to pin this on another killer, like I was saying they probably would to myself. I didn't say it to anybody else really, but I said it to myself, that it makes sense for them to pin this murder on another killer. But Batista's saying that he thinks that's not who did it. And he's kind of showing others that this could be Dexter. And it's just, they should follow him around more. But it's a TV show. You can't have, actual things that happen in real life done to a killer. It's the show. They have to continue to show. So he's probably gonna end up somehow in jail. And his son's gonna continue to protect his dad and tell him that what I've seen my dad do is not what you're saying. He's not a killer. But yet again, Batista will never believe Harrison, so he'll never trust Harrison either, because he's witnessed things that Dexter has done. Dexter and Batista have had a relationship for over 20 years back in Miami Metro, where Batista witnessed Dexter do things. He even saw him kill another killer because he killed Deb. I don't know if they're ever going to mention this, but Batista walked right past fucking Trinity with Dexter talking to him. There's been hundreds of instances where he's pretty much caught right in front of him, and LaGuardia even knows he was the butcher too. Why would a detective in a completely different state that's miles and miles away, Angela Bishop, fucking think that Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher when that's not even a connected case that has anything to do with the city she's in? So yeah, conveniently, Batista's not going to realize that right now, but he pretty much looks like he can pretty much tell the same thing I'm saying. There's no way that a random small town cop is going to fucking think of the Bay Harbor Butcher. I mean, she might have heard about it because she's a cop, but she wouldn't know what that is. And it coming back to Batista is pretty much why Batista will never trust Dexter ever again. And he should have never trusted him in the first place. But yet again, he's not a sick fuck who kills strangers for no reason. He does hurt bad people when they do bad now. Like in the last episode, he called the cops and stopped a serial killer from torturing and killing somebody. So yeah, he is kind of being more of a heroic serial killer, but that's only because he doesn't want her to get away with what she's doing. But again, he didn't kill her because he didn't have time, because right at the moment she was going to kill somebody, so he didn't have time to plan to kill her. So he had to think desperately to call the police. But in the future, I hope Dexter does choose his kids. Oh, well, one kid and his stepkids. What about their futures? They know him. They know Dexter. I don't know if they think he's dead, but he's been legally resurrected. So now that's all over the news. So Aster and Cody should be like, holy shit, our stepdad's still alive? I mean, yeah, that's been like 8, 9 years since they've seen him. But that was probably crushing for them to find out too. And now, I mean, they probably are on their own now, the same age as Harrison pretty much, well, a little older, living their own lives. But still, those people matter more than an obsession to go after a serial killer. At least at this point. If it was the beginning of Dexter, where that's all he wanted for real and his girlfriend and kids were covered, then that's what he would choose. But at this point, his kid is what all that matters to him. He followed him to help him. He's only in New York because Harrison is there. Where else would you take this? That's where it should go. And if the show ends with him choosing to completely quit being a serial killer to be there for his kid, and Batista's still on his back, and he stops at the time, how could you find anything? You still have the past that'll haunt Batista forever, and you could still figure out concrete proof, because he is still collecting blood slides. There have been witnesses that have seen Dexter around other killers, so he's probably going to be close to court, if not probably going to be pretty much figured out for what he is. And he's going to have to convince Batista, hunt the rest of these serial killers and take them all down without being seen. So that's pretty much where I think this show should go. I love Dexter. It's my favorite show. He's a fucking badass, and can't wait to see where this season goes and future seasons.